Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because, guys, almost 34 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There are a lot of people out there still struggling, and I want everyone to know someone is listening. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. I want you to know someone is listening. Guys, we've got to start looking at addiction differently. You are not powerless, not over anything, not through God. Trust me when I tell you. Okay. Now, if you'd like to buy my book, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com, because my book is now on audio. But it's with my voice, guys. My producer here, Ruben Rodriguez of Iron Horse Films and Hamilton Radio, is now putting books to audio with your voice. Simon & Schuster wanted to put mine, but they wanted to use someone else's voice. I said, absolutely not. This is my passion. This is my baby. This is me and my story. So you can go and get the audio through my website. Please subscribe to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel. A lot of great shows are there. Very cool stuff. Now listen, if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. Before I introduce my incredible guest, I'd like to just give a shout out to one of my sponsors today, John Bishop, a.k.a. Johnny B., singer-songwriter, host of the Entertainment Luncheon South, a nonprofit network created for the creative. Facebook group page, Entertainment Luncheon South, partner in the Joey D and Johnny B Rockin' Oldies band. And guys, I want to give a shout out to him and his wife Lenny, because what they do once a month is amazing. They put on this incredible luncheon for the entertainers. It's only $20. You get a great lunch, great entertainment, okay? They don't keep a penny of it, all right? So please, please, if you're interested, if you say my name, they might let you in. Let me know. Get in touch with me, okay? It's really awesome. It's once a month. It's by invite only. So, now I have a really beautiful guest. I don't want to mess up her name, not at all. So I am going to give her the mic, and I would like you to properly introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shalaine Stebner, and I am from Alberta, and we are in the middle of a little bit of a freeze. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I am a huge advocate for mental health. After going through my own mental health struggles, and my husband also has struggled lots, so I've got a lot of experience in it all. So, anyways, that's me. I'm Shalaine.
So I would have messed up your name, okay? So Shalaine.
Everybody does.
Shalaine,
Everybody does.
that's how I say it, Shalaine?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
So, it's so funny because I have friends in Canada as well, and I used to go there often. And, it's freezing here too, girl, okay? This is not the time to travel to either state.
Right.
So, your music, is country flair, correct?
Yeah. I'm a total countries. I'm heavily influenced by the 80s and 90s and early 2000s.
So, all right, tell us some of your influences as far as people. Who influenced
Absolutely.
you in the music industry?
So I feel like I grew up in a really great time for women in music. I do feel like it was prime time. But I mean, there's always going to be the classics like Garth Brooks and George Strait. But then, when Martina McBride and Terry Clark and Trisha Yearwood, Alison Krauss, Carolyn Dawn Johnson, when all of these really strong women kind of popped up, Leanne Womack, when they came out of the woodworks and kind of brought more women into the country music scene. Because I will say, we are, and just in music in general, it is male heavy. So whenever there's women around, that's my jam. That's where I live my best life. So those are, and Sarah Evans, the Dixie Chicks, or the Chicks as what they're called now. Those just in general, they heavily influenced myself in my songwriting, and then also just in the desire to want to pursue music, because they do so amazingly that you wanna do the same, right?
So I have a question for you. So you're a singer-songwriter as well, right?
Yeah.
So do you only sing your songs or do you sing a lot of covers?
I do a lot of covers because around here, generally, I usually play for about 3 hours. When I go play, like if we're doing bars or whatever the gig may be, usually we play for about 3 hours. So I don't have enough material to keep everybody interested for 3 hours singing my own songs. So you have to for sure play a lot of covers, and luckily we get the chance to sprinkle in our own music every once in a while.
Okay, so beautiful. So about how many songs have you written?
I have 15 that are 14 or 15 that are on streaming platforms. But as for how many I've written, like gosh, who knows? Because sometimes I think that there are songs that we write that are for us, and then there are songs that we write that are for other people. So if we're going to include all of that, I mean, I couldn't even tell you the number, but we have 14, I think, that are streamable, and there's another one that's coming out March 28th. That one's One Dive Bar, and I'm so excited for that one. That one's a fun one.
Tell us about that one.
So One Dive Bar, it's kind of like when you think about. I'm not sure how big of the places that you grew up, but where I grew up, our population is like very, 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 very small. So there's always that one bar that everybody goes to, and it smells, and it still has carpet on the floor, and I'm sure that there's been so much bodily fluid spilled everywhere that they should probably just burn it down, but they don't, because we got nothing else to go to. So that's where that song is kind of based around, and it's kind of about you go to this one bar, not because you like it, but because there's always going to be that one person that you swear you're going to stay away from, that you just keep coming back to him and or them, and yeah, so it's just kind of that draw, that it's not necessarily about the actual cleanliness of the bar, but it's just that you just keep getting drawn back to that one bar.
So what's cool is you don't have that like deep accent that my friends have in Canada until you say the word about. About.
You're not the first person to say that, and I don't hear it. Obviously,
You don't hear it. Yes, it's the only word that makes you sound Canadian. That's so funny. So, all right. So now, when you were growing up with the music, and you just, you said all these influences, right? Do you have like that favorite singer or not really?
Oh gosh. When I play, it's kind of funny. Every time that when I play live, I'll say like, "Oh, this is my favorite song," and then the next song, it's like, "Oh, this is my favorite song." So I probably have hundreds of favorite
Okay.
songs. And there's also songs that I don't even remember that are my favorite, that when they come on the radio, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is my favorite song." But usually anything from Martina McBride, I'll jam out to.
Okay. Because when I was growing up, of course, a lot older than you, and I don't mind. I'm 63, so I, I'm also. I always say I was born too late because I'm also too young to love the music I love. I'm an oldies Elvis and doo-wop girl. I mean, all the songs came out 50s, late 50s, early 60s, and I was born in 61. But
Yeah.
growing up, I didn't love country music, the old country music. But you guys have made it incredible. I love the new country music from the 80s and all that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I definitely, when I first started singing, I sang Patsy Cline. My grandma was a Patsy Cline lover, and she gave me the CDs and said, if you know what's good for you, you will learn how to sing these songs. So I did, and I learned them, and then I feel like that. The interesting thing about music is I've had a couple of conversations with a few people about this, but when they say like, oh, I don't like this genre, or oh, I don't like this genre, and it's like music is music. So most of the time, it's not necessarily about what genre it is; it's about how it makes you feel. And if it makes you feel good, then who cares what genre it is? So I definitely I love that the 80s and 90s country kind of took a little bit of a turn for the better and kind of
Yes.
lost that like deep
Yes.
20 old country
Yes.
portion of it. But there's always a time and a place for it.
No,
where,
yes, of course. I mean,
yeah,
now that I'm older, I look back and I appreciate it now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But
absolutely.
growing up, but now I have a question. What do you think of hip hop or rap?
I think there's a time and a place
Okay.
for it.
There's a reason I'm asking. I want to share something beautiful with you.
Yeah.
Okay, since you brought it up about the different genres. So in 2016, Hamilton Radio is very close to Trenton, New Jersey. Trenton's no good anymore, okay, unfortunately. Um, so anyway, in 2016, this young black hip hop artist named Randy Shank from Trenton, New Jersey, reached out to me on Facebook and said, Miss Jerry, I'm up and coming. I'd love to get noticed. Could I please be interviewed by you? I live in Trenton. And I said, can you keep it clean, young man? He said, absolutely. So he came live in studio with a few of his hip hop friends, and I asked him live on air. I said, why is there so much profanity? Why is there so much vulgarity? Why so much violence? And this is what he said to me. He said, Miss Jerry, everyone has a story to tell, and unfortunately for some of us, this is the only story we know, and it needs to be told. He took a piece of my heart with him. He's now down south. He has a family. He's doing photography. He'll visit me, surprise me when he's visiting family. And he just messaged me recently, and he'll always say, Miss Jerry, I'm trying to keep it clean for you. Okay? He owns a piece of my heart. So I don't listen to it, but I get it. At least now I get it, you know?
Yeah, you can have so much appreciation for the art, and really, like, I mean, if you go into an art gallery, there's some stuff that's in there that you're like, wow, I would never purchase that for however much money. But you can appreciate all of the hard work that goes into, the production, and then also putting yourself out there, because we do a lot of self promotion, and it's not for everybody. So just to be able to appreciate all of the effort and the hard work that goes into something doesn't mean you have to love what it is, but you sure can appreciate.
Yep.
You sure
I'm
can
actually
appreciate
an artist. I went to art school in '79 in New York, School of Visual Arts. And a few years ago, my daughter and I went to a vegan restaurant there. I'm vegan. And I said, let's go down East 23rd Street. I want to see if it's still there. And it was, and it's gorgeous. And unfortunately, though, everything that they're doing is now like online, graphic stuff, not by
Yeah,
hand. I had to
yeah,
draw, you know?
yeah.
That to me is sad for me, you know? So,
Hmm.
but all right. So now, so you kind of answered a question I was going to ask you without even knowing it. Then you don't have a favorite song. You have favorite songs.
Yes, yes. I have a whole
All
plethora
right.
of it.
Okay. So
It's
why
called
don't
the radio.
yes. So why don't we do this? Let's play one of your songs. Give everybody a treat. We've got
Sure.
three of them, and and then you'll talk about that song. Okay?
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Brenda liked to drink red wine and smoke Marlboro Light. She kept the house real tidy in the kitchen every night. Her husband had a tendency of spending late nights at the bar. Spent his entire paycheck on out and crashed the car. Well, Brenda got real sick of spending all her nights alone. So she packed her bags, wrote out a note saying this house ain't my home. You've been cheating, you've been lying, you've been drinking, I've been crying. I ain't gonna spend one more tear on you. I've done hurting, I'm done trying. You're still flirting, there's no denying all the stupid stuff you put me through. Well, you ain't messing with my heart no more. She left the cigarette in the ashtray and the wine spilled on the floor. floor. Hey! 10 miles down the road, Brenda turned that car around. She needed some closure before she headed out of town. She knew where he'd be at by the charges on his car. She saw him do a shot with the tall blonde at the bar. They locked eyes and she prepared to give what he deserved. This would be the last time he would ever cheat on her. She said, you've been cheating, you've been lying, you've been drinking, I've been crying. I ain't gonna spend one more tear on you. I'm done hurting, I'm done trying. You're still flirting, there's no denying all the stupid stuff you put me through. Well, you ain't messing with my heart no more. She left the cigarette in the ashtray and the wine spilled on the floor. Hey! Well, that cigarette lit the house on fire and burned it to the ground. She smiled as she passed the fire trucks and headed out of town. You've been cheating, you've been lying, you've been drinking, I've been crying. I ain't gonna spend one more tear on you. I'm done hurting, I'm done trying. You're still flirting, there's no denying all the stupid stuff you put me through. Well, you ain't messing with my heart no more. No, you ain't messing with my heart no more. She left the cigarette in the ashtray and the wine spilled on the floor.
All right, girl, tell us all about this song.
So Brenda kind of started out in a funny little way. One of my girlfriends, her name is Brenda, and she said, there are so many names of wonderful women in music, and there's no songs about Brenda. And I was like, you know what? I'll write you a song. And so I kind of had this idea of a woman scorn and, and she wants to catch her husband cheating and burn the house down and, all the good classic things that make a good country song a good country song. You know how it is. So that's kind of where it was born. And then it just kind of kept circling in my head about cigarettes and wine, because, the two of them go hand in hand for some people. And it was one of those songs that it wrote itself so fast. Like I would say probably a good 20 minutes and it was written. It just kind of it was just like the right kind of click in my brain that it just was like word vomit that kind of fell onto the pages and it just wrote itself. So I'm very, very proud of that song. The other cool part of it is that so my dad is a drummer as well, and so when we did the recording for that, he got to be on the drums for that song. Yeah.
That's so cool. All right, wait, we'll get back to your dad in a second.
Yeah.
So what did Brenda think of the song first off?
He loved it.
Okay.
So it got to number 2 on the Canadian Indie Country Countdowns, and we were just like floored.
Okay, so let's talk about your dad, and then I want to tell you something about the song Sherry Baby. All right?
Yeah.
So now your dad, does he always play the drums with you?
He used to, yes. So when he probably started in a band when, I don't know, maybe he was 16.
Okay.
And he's always kind of been the drummer. He tried playing guitar and his fingers don't work that way. So anyway, he's always been in a band, and when we were growing up, there was always a band in the basement because him and his buddies would always be playing, and so that's kind of where I desired to be on stage, watching him. And then when a couple of years ago, when I finally decided that I needed to form a band so that we could, play live and play in bars and do all of the fun stuff, I had called him and I said, hey, what do you think about this? And he was like, sounds like fun. And so he played with me for a good 2.5 years. And then just recently in I think it was last February, he said he needed to take a little step back because he's 68 and his shoulders are starting to bug him.
Okay.
So I let him off the hook for a little bit, but he still comes in every once in a while. But now he gets to dance when we play instead of just drumming. So.
But that's so cool that Dad's on that song.
Yeah.
I love it. So now, remember the song by the Four Seasons, Sherry Baby, Frankie Valli? Sherry, Sherry Baby, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I have a very good friend, Michael Diamore. You've got to check him out. I only say this about him. Here's Elvis up here, and he's pretty close underneath. That's how
Ooh,
incredible
all right.
Michael Diamore is. You got to check him out. But anyway, he sings for me when he sings that song. It's Jerry, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And listen, I sent it to Frankie Valli's brother, okay, Bobby Valley, and I go, who the heck was that Sherry chick anyway? I looked it up. There was no girlfriend. No one had a Sherry. So I said, we need to change the name now.
Now we have a direction.
Okay. So now, so now you don't have really one favorite artist. You don't really have one favorite song. But what about your songs? Do you have a favorite song of yours?
I have. Again, it's just so hard.
Okay.
Because every time that you write something, you write it for a different reason, right?
Okay.
You know, sometimes you write a song because you're in a quirky mood, or sometimes you write a song because you're in a I'm angry at my husband, so let's burn the house down kind of mood, right? So every song that you write is for a different purpose, and it has different intentions behind it.
Okay.
There are a few songs that I've wrote that I wrote because I was sad because I missed someone, or you know, there's song I love listening to stories about heartache and despair from other people, so that you can turn those into songs too, right? There's one song that I have that one I wrote for one of my girlfriends whose husband was killed in a very tragic motorcycle accident, and so, you know, for that specific reason, that one is also my favorite. I think I sent you guys Dirt Road Raised, and that one is my favorite because that's kind of how I grew up and where I grew up, right?
Okay.
So there's so many different the intentions behind each song are so different that I wouldn't say that there's one necessarily that I like above any of the other ones.
Okay.
I do like playing Brenda live because it's fun, and
Yes.
it's a boogieing song, and everybody
yeah.
dances to it, and it's a good one. But then, you know, I have another song that's called "I Sure Do Miss You," and it's I wrote it because my auntie had passed away 9 years ago, and I was sad, and it was kind of like a song that was like, I don't want to sing a sad song, but I want her to know that I miss her, right?
Right.
So everything has a different intention
Okay.
behind it. So it depends on the mood that I'm in, I guess.
Okay. No, listen, you described all that perfectly for me. No one's ever really described it that way. You know, so no, that's beautiful, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. So, all right. So now, producer, let's play a second song, and then we'll have you talk about that.
He walked in, I could feel the change. Static electricity through my veins. By the look in his eyes, he was here to play. Something about him told me I should stay away. Now it's 6 shots of whiskey, 5 minutes for that old guitar. 4 greens in hands, 3 seats in the back of the car. I think that I'm in love, but it's just a product of 2 lonely hearts and 1 dive bar. Well, I promised myself I would stay away. Commitment isn't part of his vocabulary. I need a man who needs me just as bad as I need him. But it's Saturday night and here we go again. Now it's 6 shots of whiskey, 5 minutes for that old guitar. 4 greens in hands, 3 seats in the back of the car. I think that I'm in love, but it's just a product of 2 lonely hearts and 1 dive bar. One, two, three, four, five, six. Can't resist the whiskey on his lips. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lord, forgive me for I die. Now it's 6 shots of whiskey, 5 minutes for that old guitar. 4 greens in hands, 3 seats in the back of the car. I think that I'm in love,
girl? Tell us about it.
So that one is the one that comes out in March. So that one is One Dive Bar. I that again, it's another song that just kind of wrote itself so easily. I just, when I was 18, so the legal drinking age in Alberta is 18. So the bar that I went to was in this small little town in the middle of nowhere. We have one stoplight, and there's two four-way stops in the whole town. So that's about it. And so we would go to this bar every Thursday night for karaoke, and sometimes Saturdays if we still had enough money to to go out drinking. And it's just like you have to give credit where credit is due for where you were born and raised, and where you did all of the stuff and things that you
Yep.
love the most.
Yep.
And so that was kind of my tip to the dive bar, because every town has a dive bar. Every town has one, at least one. And so actually the fun part about this song is that I got to go back to that dive bar to do all the promo pictures for it.
So,
So it was
all
really
right.
cool.
So you went back to that dive bar. It's still there. It still looks the
Yeah.
same, and you got the photos.
Yeah, I did.
See, that's beautiful to me. Man, that's priceless. You know, I grew up in Long Island City, New York, 47th Road, and right across the avenue, 7th Avenue, was my aunt's bar. It was called Fanny's Bar, and that was the dive bar. And that was where everybody went. And back then, even kids were in there with their parents. It's very different, okay?
Yeah.
You know, the building is still there on the corner, but it's no longer a bar, but hearing you say all that just brought back great memories to me,
Oh,
you know?
see, and that for me, when you have a conversation about something that you've wrote, and somebody says like, "Oh my gosh, this
Yeah.
reminds me of something from my past," like that is gold
Yeah.
to me. Gold, because I mean, I don't know where you grew up. I know nothing
Right.
about any of that place, but the fact that I can write something that brings you to that
Yes.
place, like that's just golden. Thank you for sharing.
I'm going to make it even more golden for you. I was interviewing a singer this past year, and I say to her, I think we were off air either before or after the show, and I said to her, "So where did you grow up?" And she said, "Shirley, Long Island." I said, "Excuse me?" I spent all my summers there. My grandparents' house was there. She said, "Oh, my daughter still lives there." I said, "What?" She went to visit her daughter the next week and went to my grandparents' house and sent me photos of what it looks
Oh,
like now.
oh, that's amazing.
Okay, so I'm in, so
Oh,
hearing that about that song for you is just incredible for me, right?
oh,
You
I
you
love
got the
that.
photos, you went inside. I mean, that's priceless.
Yeah, we're here for that.
Oh, that's
I love
beautiful.
that.
Beautiful. So, all right. So before we play your third song, let's talk a little bit more about some incredible moments in your career, past, present, and future.
Sure. So I'm part of the International Singer-Songwriters Association. And so I joined last year, not really knowing what I was signing myself up for, but knowing that I needed camaraderie, knowing that I needed a place to go, to share, to talk with like-minded people. And so I don't remember how I found the International Singer-Songwriters Association, but I found them. And so I nominated myself for a couple of awards, and I decided I'm going to the award show. So I went, and I was so blown away by the amount of connection that we made. I stayed at the host hotel, and we sang every night. I was there Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Like we sang around the fire every night, and
Oh,
it was so magical. It was probably the highlight. It was exactly what I needed in the time that I didn't know that I needed it. I met so many amazing people, and then I was actually lucky enough to be able to come home with a little bit of crystal. So I won an award for songwriting, and it's so funny that when you write songs, like my mom, of course, is like, "Oh, it's so good," and my kids are like, "We love it, Mom," right? But to have somebody
definitely.
that is not invested in me at all, to somebody like that to say like, hey, you did a really good job. It's very validating and very, I didn't know that I didn't realize that I needed that validation. So from that has kind of sparked a little bit of a hunger in me. So that definitely was a highlight of 2024. And then, or even just for my career in general, because I never ever had submitted anything for anything because I never ever thought that I was good enough to do such a thing. And then from there, I met a lot of, it's funny, I had to go all the way down to Atlanta to meet people from Alberta, but there was a whole bunch of us down there.
Oh.
And so from that, I've met quite a few people in Alberta, and so we've kind of got to collaborate. And one of the guys, his name is Emo LeBlanc, and he was so kind to invite me to play with him at a gig, and we actually got to play Rogers Place, which is where our hockey team plays. And so we got to play for 12,000 people during one of the intermissions, and that was amazing. Like that's the biggest audience that I've had so far. And you know, it was just so cool to be there to play with somebody that you admire, and you know, you get to do this really cool thing that I never ever thought that I would ever be able to do in my entire life. And so those are kind of the highlights of my life so far. Last year we played so much in the summer. I played at least 2 to 3 to 4 gigs a weekend, which was way too much. But I was so blessed to have that much going for me. So I was so excited for that. So hopefully this summer will be not as crazy. I'll get to be a little bit more selectful and purposeful in what I choose to do instead of just saying yes to everything because I want to play. But future wise, I don't even know what's coming. You know, I'm excited for going back to Atlanta for the show, for the award show again, and then actually in February, so next weekend. We're going out to Vancouver, so we'll get to fly out to Vancouver, and we're actually doing a fundraiser, and we're calling it Vet Stock. So we're doing a fundraiser for the veterans out there, and because that's where they're holding the Invictus Games, which is the Olympics for wounded warriors and our veterans. And so we're doing a big fundraiser out there for that. Which is going to be absolutely amazing. And if you want to watch it, you can stream it. You don't have to be there. You can just go onto my Facebook page, Shalaine Stebner Music, and there'll be a link at the top of the page that you can sign up to stream it. It's just $10, and the money goes straight back to our cause. So it's we're supporting veterans, and then we're also working with the Disability Channel. So the Disability Channel really focuses on hiring the unhireable. So they, you know, if you have any disability, whether it's mental, physical, and you can't find a job, they have a whole bunch of platforms in place to train you, to hire you to do certain things, and it's all supported by the Ontario government, which is fantastic. So that's what we're doing. That's the most exciting thing that I have coming up in the next couple of weeks.
So give everyone like your platforms, how they can reach out.
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I don't understand TikTok, so don't follow me on there. But then you can stream my music on anywhere that there's streaming music. And then you can also go to my website. It's www.shalainestebner.com, and that kind of gives you a link to, or there's little links to go to all of my all the platforms, and it has anything that's up and coming, or you know, anything.
Okay.
Pictures of me.
Oh, I love it. Well, you're beautiful. Okay, beautiful. So what I would like to do now is read a poem out of my book. So this poem that I wrote, it's called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. And I like to read this poem when I do entertainers, especially because I'm going to be getting a lot of messages. Okay, she's amazing. I wish I could sing like her. I wish I was as beautiful as her. I wish I could. Trust me when I tell you. So many people feel like they have nothing to offer in talents. And I want everyone out there to know, if that's you, listen to every single word of this poem, because we're all born with a gift. Okay? So here it is. Utilizing gifts and talents. We are born with talents, we are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used. God's gift to us, not be abused. We can go far in life for sure, using our gifts to go on tour, like this lady's doing. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. So don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back, or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, your name, Shalaine, baby, will live forever, forever and a day. So go through life excited for what you sure can give. To yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. Make sure people smile with the breaking dawn. So that's for you,
Love
and
that.
that's for
Thank you.
and that's for everyone listening who are doubting themselves. Okay, guys? Because you don't
Yes.
need to. You don't need to doubt yourself.
A
Everybody
hundred
has
percent.
something, right? Everybody has something to offer. We all need to express it, like we were just saying earlier.
Yeah. I want to tell you a little story.
Okay.
So when I first started writing music, the very first song that I wrote that really, that I put music to and kind of took my life seriously, was a song called As Strong as Your Daddy. And
Oh.
I wrote that song in a time when my husband had been laid off and there were no jobs, and he had sunk into an awful depression, and he struggled a lot. And so I didn't know exactly what I was going to come home to when I came home from work. And so I wrote a song, and I wrote it as if my husband had completed suicide. And I wrote a song to my son about how you don't have to be strong. You know, you don't have to pretend. You don't have to, everybody always says, like, if you're a man, like, oh, you have to, like, toughen up, men don't cry, blah, 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 and all that BS. And so I wrote it to my son about how, like, you don't have to, that's not right. And, if you feel something, it's absolutely okay and irrelevant. And so, after I'd put that song out in the Facebook land and kind of got a little bit of traction with it, that kind of gave me the kind of boost that I needed to write some more songs. And so I was down playing in a park one time, and there's quite a lot of homelessness where I was playing, and so I was playing, and I was going to sing As Strong as Your Daddy, and so I had prefaced it with my talk about where we were at in our situation, and about how you talk to somebody, just spreading the word that's deep inside my soul. And after I was done playing, there was one homeless man that was sitting at a table, and I love talking to people, and so I went and sat down with him, and he was crying, and I said, like, talk to me, like, tell me why you're crying. And he said, your story that you told, he's like, that was my story, and the only difference is, instead of having the support from my wife and my family, he's like, I lost everything. And so I think that it is so important for us to realize that every day is a choice. We choose, and my story could also have gone the same way as him with just one choice. And so I think that it is so important, just as a reminder, that we choose life every day, and we need to make the best and the most of it. But also, this platform that we have been given, your platform, my platform, it should be treated and respected as such, that we spread love and encouragement and all of the things, which obviously we both are. But I think it's so important to have those conversations and to have the tough talks, and to spread the love as best we can. It is our job as being on the platforms
Yes.
that we are on, to remind everybody that, like, first of all, we don't get here just by chance. It's by choice. But also that everybody is here for a reason, and everybody is loved.
So you're making me now have to read more poems.
Oh, I love it.
Okay? I'm actually going to read two more, and I usually only read one. But you're right. Okay, you talked about suicide.
Mhm.
This poem is called Put Down the Gun. And the gun can be anything you're choosing to take your life with. It could even be food, right? Whatever it is that you're abusing your life with, put down the gun. So if anyone out there, I hope you guys all listen to everything this beautiful young lady just said, because she's here to help as well. I mean, look at what she's doing with her platform. If anybody out there is struggling, I want you to listen to every word of this poem, okay? It's very short, but listen to it. It's powerful. Put down the gun. I had to have this purple gun just in case my life was done. I kept it safe locked in my room because I was filled with gloom and doom. Yes, there were times that I just knew if I loaded it up what I could do. But I kept on hearing that gentle voice, put down that gun. You have that choice. Life may seem hard at the end of the day, but that's when you need to really pray. Dear Father, I beg you to show me the truth. How can life be so bad when I'm only a youth? Get rid of that gun and go take a shower. Ask someone for help. You do have that power. So, okay, so Shalaine had a little issue, and I see that she's trying to get back on. My producer just walked out to use the restroom, so he'll be back in less than a minute, and he will bring her back on. So while we're waiting for her, I'm going to read the other poem, Change Your Choice, okay? She'll be back on very shortly. I had a life-changing moment that I knew had to be. The only way to change things was to first start with me. So I looked in the mirror and woke up one day and thought to myself, I needed to pray. So I asked God to change me, to help me stay strong, to clean up my mess, to right what's been wrong. I cleaned up my diet, I cleaned up my room, I cleaned up old habits with this old dirty broom. I kept going forward and never looked back. I refused to derail, stayed on the right track. I realized my worth and all that did matter through my selfish behavior, the lives I had shattered. I finally decided at 30 years old to stop abusing my body, my mind, heart, and soul. My life-changing choice that I had once made, going on 34 years now, guys, my debt has been paid. Producer, you got to let her back in. So you read all my thoughts on how to stay clean. It's all or nothing, my friend. There's no in between. To live or to die is a choice you must make. Your life is not worthless and you're not a mistake. One day at a time is a slogan you've heard. It works if you work it while applying His word. For you to get healthy, for your mind not to fail, escaping reality will keep you in jail. With addictive behavior, sex, drugs, food, or money, substituting addictions, now isn't that funny? I'm not an addict, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. May the good Lord bless and guide you. Shalaine, I had to wait for the producer. He had just stepped out to use the men's room. So what I did was I read both poems, okay? So you can listen to them when you rewatch the show.
I will, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I wanted to do that while we were trying to get you back in. Thank you, producer.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, that was my fault.
That's okay. So yeah, I just read two poems. One was called Put Down the Gun, and the other was Change Your Choice, because everyone needs to know that they can choose to change.
Yes.
Okay. So this was beautiful. Let's play your third song, and then we'll talk about it. Here we go.
Perfect.
West of town on 53 in the middle of nowhere. Nestled back in the trees where you can breathe the cleanest air. A husband and his wife tried to make the land their own. Raise a family and teach them all that they had known. Well, I was a wild child, I could never stay home. All around the countryside, I had the urge to roam. All the roads I traveled on taught me lessons in their own way. Some were hard, but the best ones didn't happen when I was away. No, the best ones happened when my wheels hit that dirt road that raised me and taught me right from wrong. How to love and how to cut
beautiful. Tell us about that song.
So that song was the first song that I got to record professionally. So I had wrote that song obviously about the dirt road that I had grew up on, and the nice thing about dirt road raised is that everybody was raised on a dirt road. It doesn't matter if you were born where you were born, if you lived in town. Everybody had that one dirt road that they went down and did all of the things that our parents told us we weren't allowed to do. So I think that I was so blessed to be able to grow up in the middle of nowhere. And I hope that one day I will also get to move back to that dirt road and raise my kids out there as well. And it's kind of, that's my story. We grew up in the middle of nowhere. My husband he was born and raised, 25 minutes away from me. And we got together when I was 19 and he was 20. So we knew each other since grade 2. We'd met for the first time, so it's just kind of a homage to where I was born and raised. And I think that it's quite relatable. I think there's a lot of people that had some of those same experiences on any dirt road. Doesn't have to be Range Road 11. It could be any of the could be any of the ones that you did all of your biddings on.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh, you are bringing back so many silly memories too. Okay, girl.
So the other fantastic part about Dirt Road Race is when we first did the recording, we were broke. So I had found a recording studio that was close to me that was within my budget. And the guy that did the recording was absolutely fantastic, but he was very jazz based. So just this last year, I was so blessed to be able to re-record it and remaster it with Bob Beals at Sound Foundation. And I think it's so cool that, you don't have to be there in order to do all of this stuff. Technology is quite cool. You say that there's, all of the artistic stuff now is being done online and whatever. But at the same time, we would never be able to have this conversation if it weren't for the advancements in technology. So I think it's a catch-22, and there's a time and a place for everything. But yeah, so anyways, I got to send all of my stuff and things down to Bob, and he remastered and redid it and gave it that kind of a little bit more of a rocker flair, and so then it transformed into what it is now. And I didn't know that it could be that because what it was to start with was quite honky tonk. So we definitely got to amp it up a little bit and modernize it a smidgen.
Beautiful. I think about this stuff all the time. Back in the day, go to the 50s, go to the 60s, right? They didn't have this technology. Everything had to be done live and in studio, and imagine, and they still made it, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
You can't beat live musicians. You can't beat that.
It was amazing. So, all right, we're coming to the close of the show. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for honoring me here. This was such a cool interview. You are awesome. I want to give the mic back to you because I don't want you to forget anything. If there was something you wanted to talk about, we didn't discuss, anything at all, the mic is yours.
I feel like we've pretty much gone through everything and the kitchen sink.
Okay, yes.
In a very short amount of time. There's nothing that's like blaringly throwing up in my brain that says we need to talk about this, because we talked about mental health, we talked about veterans and the vet stock, we talked about where I was born and raised, we talked about the good old bar days. I think that we've covered quite a bit in a very short amount of time.
Okay, beautiful. So, guys, listen, please share this show. All right. She's amazing. Absolutely. Beautiful inside and out. This was so much fun. So encouraging as well. So I just want to thank you, sweetheart. This was really beautiful.
Thank you for having the platform where we can have these conversations, because they're so important.
Refresh my memory. Who connected us? Because I have so many producers out there.
Caden Gordon.
Oh, Caden. We love you, Caden. Hi, Caden.
Yeah. Hey, Caden.
Yep. He is one of the most hardworking young men I've ever known.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh, right? Insane. Yeah. Caden, you rock with all the awards, everything he's doing. We love you, Caden. All right, sweetheart.
Yes, we do.
Producer, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.